Smash rooms, pop-up picnics, and IV drip bars. These are just some of the hottest ideas backed by data to help you get going on your business journey. We've teamed up with our good friends at Trends.co to showcase the hottest business opportunities that you can start building this year. And stick around to the end where I share one of the weirder business ideas. Let's dive in. Rage rooms. So rage rooms, aka smash rooms or anger rooms. Yes, mom, people are actually paying to go destroy objects. So a friend of mine, Tiago Forte, actually brought this up during an interview where he uses his tennis racket and he was just smashing shit with it at his house.
What anger work is all about is this idea that emotions are just bodily functions. They had this big futon. There were people standing on both sides of me and in front of me, and I just start whacking this futon with a tennis racket, and I feel so dumb. Like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever done. It's like a volcano that's been dormant for 100 years, starting to erupt, and the rage that came out of me from years of just denying it, not feeling it, not expressing it. And the feeling after is like the greatest high.
For as little as $15, you can put on a hard hat, grab a baseball bat, and go to town smashing electronics, and you could be in your very own Office Space movie. What's really interesting about this type of business idea is, one, you can find a bunch of garbage all over the place. Two, it's really easy to put this in public areas that hopefully doesn't have people around. And three, it's fun to go do and let your frustration out. What's even more crazy about this business is that almost 140,000 people searched Rage Room this year. There are a few brands in this space, but that doesn't mean that there's not a lot of opportunity for you. So there is Smash Therapy. In pre-COVID, they were doing around $20,000 to $25,000 a month, as well as there's the Rage Ground mobile units. This is just a cool kind of business idea. Some of my favorite business models are just like this one, where they're taking garbage and turning it into gold. So they found that you could take a bunch of junk that people are throwing away and turn it into a destroying thing that people actually pay for. So here are some opportunities around these rage rooms. One, pop-up rage rooms. So bring a bat, some safety equipment, and objects like furniture, dishes, ex-boyfriend photos, and smash them in a pandemic-friendly way. You can also look at Rage Ground's mobile units or Smash's mobile rooms for college campuses. Another idea around this is corporate partnerships. So at appsumo.com, create a rage room in the back of a van, and you could drive it to outside of our office to use at holiday parties or corporate outings. It definitely sounds really creepy. It just is. That just sounds creepy, but that's the idea. This model is scalable and pretty predictable, so instead of guessing how many people are gonna come through to your actual location, you can just drive your events to them. So how can you actually get started today around this? Literally recreate the famous Office Space scene where you get a copier, you bring a baseball bat, you throw it in a field, and you get people to actually pay for it. So if you check out some of the Smash Therapy prices, it's really actually funny how they charge for it. So they have memberships. For a monthly membership, $45, you can have 5 minutes of smashing a month, as well as they sell individual packages. So take the edge off, that's 5 minutes for $15, stress levels on fleek, 20 minutes for $40, or I just needed a moment to myself, 30 minutes for $55. What I recommend is if you get some of the junk stuff, and you can get any of the junk stuff from Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, Goodwill, your friends, your parents, you really just need a tarp, which is pretty cheap. You could get a tent, and maybe you can even pay for some tools at $50 to $70. What I highly recommend you do to get this started is pre-sell this to 5 of your friends to cover the cost of supplies before you even buy anything. One thing that you may want to consider, I would do it probably later, but don't take my word for it, is get insurance. The average rage room in America spends around $500 to $1,100 per year for liability insurance. Again, I would do it after you already start getting some customers and momentum. One of the major key things from this business idea, and every other one we're going to talk about, is momentum. Just get started, get some customers, get some profit, and from there you can see where that takes you, but get that train off the tracks and build up the momentum. I am very grateful that you're choosing to spend time with me today. If you're enjoying this video so far, it would mean a lot if you could like that video and subscribe to the channel. I make these videos just for you. Next one is pop-up picnics. Okay, so in Austin, numerous friends have actually done this over at Zilker Park, and this has exploded with so many restaurants being closed during the pandemic. So why are they interesting? One, you don't have to lift a finger. These people go and find locations, they bring the food, and they set it up, and you just come and eat. It's kind of like it's a pop-up picnic. So plus they clean up everything, so when you're done, you could literally be a total slob and walk off into the sunset. Wildly, Australia is actually leading the pop-up picnic scene with 10 times the search volume as the United States. So only really in Florida and California has there even be any significant search volume of this type of activity. Let's actually look at them. Oh my God, that's so nice. Dude, yes, at Auditorium Shores. Merry Christmas, Brittany and Mario. Happy Hanukkah, Noah. There's also popuppicnic.co. This looks like it's in San Diego. I love this idea. Plus, there's not a lot of cost. You're not paying rent. You're basically just, if you can sell it to customers, then you just go set up amazing pop-up experience. And this trend is particularly social media worthy. Over 170,000 TikTok views, and Google search traffic for pop-up picnics is on the ride. And as I always tell you guys, look to be a part of tidal waves. And this is something really interesting, especially with like, hey, I don't want to pay rent and do all these other things. You could easily go set up picnics just like this. So there are some companies, as we said, Pop-Up Picnic. They are charging around $239 for 2 guests, which includes food, drinks, ambiance setup, and cleanup. Plus they'll wipe your butt for you. No, that's an upsell. In Austin, we also have some ones like Caravan and Panacea Collective. Another opportunity is you can create unique kits that customers can buy to easily DIY their own pop-up picnics. Think charcuterie board, tablecloths, baskets, whatever that is. So next up would be offer subscriptions or seasonal memberships. So I think it's an amazing thing to go to companies and say, hey, do you guys want a company picnic once a month? Or if people are couples, say, hey, once a quarter, why don't you guys have a date night and join our membership? I really like these ideas around pop-up picnics. So how you can get started really, really simple is, one, you can hit up 5 to 10 friends and say, yo, Venmo me $50 or PayPal me $50 and see if you can actually get that to happen. If that doesn't happen, it's gonna be tough. Or you can try setting up a Facebook event or another event and have your friends just split the cost with you and see if it's an experience that you actually enjoy facilitating. I really like the idea of this because it's something that anyone can do anywhere in the world. Leave a comment below with one of your favorite business ideas you've heard today. Next up is Office Pods. This is me recording the video about Office Pods, but I wanted to show you, we actually have Office Pods out here, so let's go check them out. So that's Nick in the Office Pod. And what's nice about it, so he's got his own, hey Nick, I'm just making a video. So he's on a call in quiet while Zach and Brandon are raging. They're raging out here, and he could be in a quiet private room over there. Office pods. With office space being changed forever, more people want small hybrid offices. So these soundproof pods that we have at appsumo.com have been really helpful for sales calls, meetings, or just to be able to get away from me. And a lot of times, if you're at a noisy coffee shop, you're like, yo, that's annoying. So here's some crazy stats. So VCube, which is a Japanese company, they have rolled out these self-contained office pods in corporate foyers, that's a fancy word, foyers, and public spaces like airports and so forth, and they've got thousands of them coming. They have 90 pods available and can be reserved for only $2.40 for 15-minute intervals. There are a few brands in this space. There is Room, which is actually the brand we own. There is Cody, so they actually help you find private offices. So people have set up offices in their homes. You can actually use Cody to find that, as well as Mojo Pod, which is a really ugly looking private pod. But what are the opportunities for you around this business idea? Because this is a trend that's definitely gonna keep getting more popular as we don't need as much space. So you wanna have your own private area? That's why these pods are gonna be so popular. So you can start a review channel of all the remote desk and working configurations. So how do you get started doing that? Do I have to tell you everything, people? You know what to do. You start a YouTube channel. What up, YouTube? Here's me. I'm at my desk doing the thing. Or you can review local offices, co-working places, the other ways that people can set up effective home offices. Another thing you could do is you can rent actually super small office space, but create a ton of usable space buying a bunch of those pods. So you can actually fit in more people and end up making more money per space than you would if you just rented a large ass area. So how can you get started? If it was me, I would line up a few people who want office space, go post in your Slack groups and your WhatsApp groups and Facebook, wherever it is, or text your friends, and see if you can get anybody who says, yes, I want office space. And then I would go try to do a budget and see, can I make profit having pods in a smaller office space? And lastly, what you could do in your own area, whether in Austin, Texas, where I am, or if you're in Europe or whatever country you're in, make a website that organizes where office pods are or where people can go and work without having to work at a cafe. Because a lot of times if you want to do sales, if you want to record a podcast, it's actually not that convenient. So having a pod or having a database where you can actually go and do that easier is a really interesting business opportunity. Next up are drip bars. So what the hell is that? A few weeks ago, I was in Puerto Rico, that's where I got this shirt from, and I hit up an IV drip bar after a night out. Mom, we were studying. And so it was delightful, and it was surprisingly effective to have the IV drip come right into you. And as well, at the sumo charity ride a few years ago, we hired a company called Nuvo Health who came into the office, and after the ride, people got IV drips. You probably have seen IV drips maybe at the airport or at major events like Austin City Limits. For me, I actually think this is gonna be one of the bigger trends in health because basically it refreshes you once you have it. I was shocked at how effective it was. And there are companies doing this for massages. So you have like Zeal and Soothe doing it for the massage industry. I think for the IV industry, there's a huge opportunity to either bring it mobilely to people or create more areas that people can actually have it done. So the search trend is growing around 2,000 searches a month for IV drip at home. So I think mobile IV drip or just IV drip bars are gonna be exceedingly popular. This is fascinating. The drip bar is gonna open around 40 locations by the end of this year. So it's definitely an early industry to get in. So there's some brands to talk about, IV Nutrition and Drip Bar, which are franchises, as well as NutriDrip and the Hydration Room, which are luxury clinics. I went to a clinic in Puerto Rico, that's where I had my IV drip, but I definitely love the at-home experience. So some of the opportunities. So first off, at-home treatments. So to be able to do at-home treatments, you need to find someone, maybe a nurse practitioner, who can administer the IV. But otherwise, the equipment, which can fit in the back of a trunk, is really easy to do. And you can even make it a subscription, 5 treatments per month, maybe it's once per quarter. So to get initial customers, ask any of your friends who work out and said, hey, do you want a better recovery? Or you can ask your friends who drink a lot and say, hey, do you want to try this out next time you drink? Another thing you can do is create IV therapy getaways. So there's like yoga retreats and detox retreats. Why not include a retreat that includes IV drips? So you can join people doing getaways or create your own getaway experience. My recommendation is look at people who did getaways and trips back in the day that aren't doing them anymore and see if it's something they can collaborate with and reignite their audience. One thing you could do is find influencers on Instagram or business influencers like myself. I don't think any of you guys would want to take an IV drip with me, but if you would, maybe someone would hit me up and we set up our own IV cocktail party. I don't know. And my favorite idea around the IV stuff is drive-through drip bars, just like the COVID testing centers. So there is so much empty parking lots and space all around the world. And I love businesses that are taking space that's not being used and turning it into a business. So turn those empty parking lots, get some tents, and actually have IV drive-through drip bars. I really like that. If you are liking this video so far and you want more videos from me, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit that little notification bell, ding! Every month I do crazy giveaways to my subscribers. Last year I gave away my Tesla. This year I gave away 60,000 Airbnb credits, a diamond company. Yeah, I did that. 2 MacBooks, 3 iPads. You get the idea. So if you're not subscribed, you will be missing out. And the last weirder one that I told you I would tell you is clay, ceramics, and pottery. Actually, I have a good buddy, Joel Cherico, I believe is doing 7 figures making pottery cups. The pandemic has made arts and crafts sexy again. Bring it back, Justin. And the data shows that people are taking a particular liking to clay, ceramics, and pottery. So I can see why. There's something nostalgic and therapeutic about molding clay. Do you guys remember doing that when you were a kid? And plus, it makes a great date night. I remember back in the day I was making this crappy stuff, brought it home to my mom, and she'd be like, that's garbage. She'd throw it away, but it was fun to do. So some crazy stats. The pottery classes near me search gets almost 50,000 searches a month. And the polymer clay starter kit, yes, said that right, is doing $45,000 a month on Amazon per Jungle Scouts. That's wild. So the market to buy and sell handcrafted goods is definitely promising. And there's also sites like Etsy, which had over 61 million new or reactivated shoppers in just Q4 of last year. There are a few brands in the space. There are Sculpt, Crocked, and the Clay Box for kids. And personally, I love home activity kits. I think people want more than just always watching Netflix. Yo, dude, let's Netflix and pottery. So some opportunities for you to take advantage of. So subscription boxes. So yes, go and find your friends, find your network and say, hey, we're gonna make these DIY kits around pottery. You can actually go and sell it to people and use this company like cratejoy.com to make your subscriptions easy to fulfill. A lot of people are still stuck at home. A lot of people are still looking for things to do with their significant others or with their kids or just by themselves. And pottery is a great subscription to give them something to go do regularly. Another thing is capitalize on the at-home date trend and create pottery kits. So a lot of people want chocolates, they want activities, maybe it's a sculpting and cheese board or edible arrangements add-on. So there is things you can do to say, hey, if you're gonna have at-home dates, why don't you check out pottery as one of those options? So one of the things that's really interesting is you can go buy clay and pottery and ceramics on Amazon or wherever you can get your local supplies and start making things yourself and either sell them to other people, or you can create a YouTube channel where you're just kind of experimenting and exploring how people are experimenting with this type of items. Most importantly, just get started today. So you could create your own YouTube channel, Ceramics with Noah, and it's like me making cups or me making photos of myself or whatever the hell it is. But I like the idea that what can I do that people are at home stuck for? Maybe it's kids, maybe it's couples, maybe it's individual guys. I love that stuff like this is becoming popular. So the 5 different business ideas that we talked about for you guys to get started today and get inspired and getting your own business going are rage rooms, pop-up picnics, office pods, IV drip bars, and clay, ceramics, and pottery. If you want to see me take one of these kind of ideas from this list and show you how I would actually go about starting that business in under 48 hours, check out this video right up here. I'll see you out there, and I love you. Pew, pew.